Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the PHNX Rising podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. My name is Ramon Chavez, and I'm super happy to be here with my partner, Owain Evans. How you doing, sir?
You know, it's that time of year, isn't it? We finally hit that time of year where we go outside, it's training on a Tuesday, and my pasty skin decides maybe red is my color. It's a long time standing out there in the sun when we go down for training.
It's starting. Hey, and it was super windy today too, so that certainly didn't help things as well.
We got to watch a lot of people though doing stretching, and that was weird. I'm going to be honest.
yeah, a little uncomfortable, huh? We also want to shout out our producer for today, Sean DePass, Mr. Peacemaker. Thank you so much for helping us out today, sir.
Of course, always.
Awesome. And we have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Saturday's win against Galaxy 2. That was a great start over there at Wild Horse Pass. We got some pretty big news around the USL concerning a former player from Phoenix Rising. So we'll definitely touch on that. We'll get some updates, some injury updates, of course, from trainings today from Owain. And just some great stuff. Maybe a little bit of Champions League, and also maybe some games that might be coming to town. International games, I mean. So we'll talk about that later. But let's go ahead and get started with the game on Saturday. Last Saturday, Owain Rising get the win 3-1 over Galaxy 2. 2 goals from Luis Seijas, 1 from Marcus Epps, and then Cabral was able to get the other one for Galaxy. I was pretty satisfied by that game. How did you feel about it?
I think that it was, look, again, we said a lot of this on the weekend. It was a good win overall. You know, there were improvements over where they had been. There are still some ways to improve from the club. Even just talking to Rick today about one of the things that came up is Claudio being used efficiently? You know, is the team playing to his strengths? And the answer to that is, well, not really, because they're not really a direct team. You know, he might contribute in other ways that are good, but it's not playing to his utmost strengths. But overall, still a good result and definitely a step in the right direction after, you know, some shaky performances overall on the season. Now it's 2 league wins in a row, and of course that cup result in midweek.
Yeah, definitely 3 wins in a row if we include the U.S. Open Cup. Looking to make it 4, maybe 5 this upcoming week against New Mexico.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely a daunting task, but I think this team is up to the task. I do want to point out that Rising has 5 of their next 6 games at home, so definitely kind of some home cooking here for the boys. Twice against New Mexico, like we said, once against Miami FC, and then at the end of the month they'll be visiting Los Angeles over there at the Galaxy 2, and then back home to face off against San Antonio and the Rowdy. So definitely some home games here for everybody to go. You know, we want some fans out there in the stands. Luis Seijas was named to the USL Team of the Week. Aiden Quinn was honorable mention. What was the mood around training today regarding Seijas?
Well, you know what? I think you just stumbled over his name, didn't you?
A little bit.
Stumbled over his name.
Say it apparently.
On the day that we even asked about his name. Should we play that one out to just start us off?
Just because we've heard so many different pronunciations both here on the broadcast, how do you pronounce your name?
Spanish, Seijas.
The perfect way, the pronunciation, correct way.
Yeah, I can get away with Seijas, which is you pronounce a J in English, but the funny one is Seijas with a I and with an A, and it's not an A. So yeah, Seijas or Seijas is fine. I think the confusion started with the web of the club, that they tried to write down how you pronounce it, and it was like 1,000,000 letters. So yeah, that didn't came off really good, but it's okay. I don't mind.
I thought it was Kevin.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's reminiscent of Lambert, right? That there was a whole discussion about that.
Yeah, so it's Lambert Mark II, when no one knew how to say, or everyone used to incorrectly say. So it's Kevon, more not Kevin necessarily. But then even then before that, you had times where like Rick would come out and do like interviews with us, and he would say like Kevon. And he's like, it's not that. So yeah, it's like Mark II of that. We've finally gotten to the bottom though of how exactly Luis Seijas says his name.
So it's all because I've been saying it's Seijas.
Well, that's the way that the club has been telling people to say it.
But there's no accent on the I, so I understand what
No.
you're saying. So Seijas, you just kind of say it all. It's like Worcestershire. You just say it really quick, so people don't really they can't really tell. But yeah, good.
Yeah, back to your point. Back to your point there, though. I think that the mood today seemed good. There was a lot of again. It was a recovery day today. I believe he gave the boys a day off yesterday. They had a recover because they had such a busy week. The 3 games in a week, and they're going to be facing that again soon. You got to make sure they get some rest. There was a recovery day today. As I said, there was a lot of stretching. They were all out there. They had music blaring. Rick's encouragement was a bit bizarre, I'm going to be honest. I don't really know how to describe it. But all I'll say is that the people were coming around like, your camera is off, right? Yeah. It was a bit weird. But the mood is good. The mood is good. As you mentioned, Luis making the team of the week, didn't get player of the week. Actually finished behind 2 other players for that one. And Dikwa from Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and he finished behind Jordan Farr as well. I'm reliably informed that at least one person did vote for him. But that's all I can say on that one, unfortunately.
Yes, I like that. I like that that Rick is kind of keeping things loose. Obviously, he knows it's a big week. The players know it's a big week, and especially given the fact of how they started the season. You do want to have that mentality where you're looking to get the 3 points every week, or every time you step out, you're trying to get the W. But you also want to be fun and relax and loose, because I know there's been some tension on, especially the last couple of weeks. So I'm glad that the boys are having fun.
All right, and it's important when you've got such a long spell of games in a short space of time. Yeah. You've got to be. If you're not happy about it, it's going to become a grind, and the players just aren't going to be. They're not going to be playing at their best because it's hard. You're asking a lot of them really to come out, have 2 league games and a cup game in the middle of the week. To do that multiple times within the space of a month. Now, the one good thing about it, at least almost all of those games. In fact, there was 1 game I believe away from home this whole month.
Yeah. Despite
the sheer, and that came at the very beginning. So it could be a lot worse. There's no travel at least, but it's you want to have that positive vibe around the club. You don't want them to be on holiday, that's for sure, but you want to have the positive vibe around at least.
That's awesome. And also it kind of makes us positive too, because I know we've gotten those comments where we're like a little bit too somber. So definitely good as well. So I do want to shout out everybody that's in the comments.
Phoenix Rising, PHNX Rising venting hour.
Venting hour.
It's all right. Whenever we see the boys lose, it's always the venting hour.
Yeah, of course. PHX Rising Nation, thank you for showing up. Dan Fenabit beat New Mexico twice for my birthday. Let's go. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can do it. Michael again. But yeah, Reese the King, thank you so much for showing support and watching us. Yeah, if you guys have any comments, make sure to keep commenting there.
Shout out to Reese as well, who of course won our jersey giveaway, and we did see
okay, that's Reese. Okay, awesome. Yeah. No, it was awesome. I still haven't seen the picture he took, so hopefully we can post that up pretty soon. As far as updates with injuries, what's going on with that?
All right, so we did manage to get a little bit of an update from Rick today, and there is a video of that as well. So let's just hand it over to Rick.
Santi, we're not sure. He was running today, so he's way ahead of schedule. I don't know if he'll be available for Saturday, but possibly Wednesday. Babu he was in training today. We just held him out of the physical contact just because sometimes there's stability issues, and we don't want to have any setbacks with him. So there's really no need to rush it right now because we do have 3 next week. So the advantage we have is if they don't play on Saturday, maybe they could play Wednesday, or they'd be available for the following Saturday.
So I don't want to say this too much now because Josh is actually a really nice guy, but yeah, Josh Easton, 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks minimum, and already Rick is saying, "Nah, Santi might be back on Wednesday."
I mean, he told you when you saw him on Saturday, you got to speak with him. He's like, "I'm gonna play." Like, so,
oh yeah, no, he was straight up like, if I'm limping, I don't care, I'm out there. Like, it is. Look, he knows more than anyone what this rivalry means because he is a large part of it. Let's be honest. When he moved over from New Mexico after the end of that first season that they had over there in Albuquerque, it definitely ruffled some feathers. Let's be honest. And we've all seen the image of. Pretty sure there was a picture up in New Mexico's front office where they had the it was a bunch of players and there was Santi and they'd stuck like a sticker with a poop emoji over Santi's head or something like that. This is personal. This one's personal.
I think people are trying to figure out how to say your name on the chat, so we'll get it right one day. No, I'm glad to hear that. Like I said on the post game show, I think maybe the week Friday show, I would prefer for Santi to not play on Saturday and have him ready for Wednesday. That would be my opinion, even if he's 100%.
Don't push him. Don't push him. Yeah, don't push him.
Yeah, you definitely need that depth because otherwise, who do you have? You're going to have Greg Hurst playing 4 games basically, back to back to back without like any sort of break. So it's kind of like a toss. I don't think he's needed, at least for this. I think the U.S. Open Cup game, to me, if I'm Rick Shantz, that would take priority, at least for this kind of.
Well, that's everything that is being said is we're not looking past Saturday. Okay, which is it's cliche, yes, all of that. But it also comes down to something whereby a lot of people will often say that, it's they prefer the league to the cup. And I'm not sure that's necessarily the right attitude to take. There's a lot longer, right, to make up for a bad league result.
Yeah.
You can't make up for a bad cup result. Look, I don't know. I'm intrigued how they're going to approach it. But then even beyond that, you have things like Rick saying today that, we're all the rivalry talk and that is all stuff that, we all say about, it's a media thing and a fans thing and, kind of trying to downplay it, which of course is a tactic that a lot of coaches use when they talk about big rivalry games. But then it's also a tactic that can backfire because when you come out and have a lackluster performance, what's the first thing that everyone points to? Well, you were just treating it like it's any other game. And we know to the fans, it's not just any other game.
Yeah. Yeah, let me know.
But I'm sure we'll have a lot more on New Mexico, I'm sure, on Thursday.
For sure. On the chat, let us know what do you consider more important, the league game on Saturday or the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. So, and like I said, it's just, I think, especially after that performance against Valley United, and we'll touch on it more on Thursday, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think Rising have played well in any other U.S. Open Cup games. I think going 9 games, if I remember the statistic correctly, they haven't been able to win a game in regulation. It's either been in extra time or in penalties. So it's or they've lost. I mean, and I just need them to have a great performance, move on to the next round. Hopefully they can play an MLS team or FC Tucson or whatever happens in that draw and then just keep going. I think that for me would kind of give fans a little bit more pleasure, I guess, than just seeing another extra time 1-0 offside goal to move us to the next round. So
well, it was an offside goal, wasn't it? I mean,
it's not great. I don't like it. So definitely want a better performance. Babu's looking okay. He's gonna be ready to go hopefully soon. Anything on James Musa? What's going on with him?
No update that I've heard as of yet. I mean, James, bearing in mind, was a little further off than the others were anyway. He's it's a hip issue again. The hope might be that he might be back in training next week, but that doesn't mean he's going to be close to playing. And at the end of the day, when you've got 2 other centre backs and there's Rick did manage to slightly tease at one point today, there may be someone else on the way. A certain other
someone on the field, you're right.
A certain big blonde person who we've definitely not been referring to time and time again. Well, the good news is because we were back in training today, guess who we saw today? Is it the big blonde person?
Coming soon. Coming soon. Yeah, we definitely saw him.
Eventually they'll get the. Eventually they will get their shit together, and he will actually be available for selection. But at this point in time, that is not the case.
So speaking of that back line, you had Kev Lambert again as center back. You've mentioned this gentleman that might be coming soon to the team. Will we see Kev Lambert in the back line again?
That's a really good question. It's something that we asked Rick today. It's unclear because, again, there's that competition that someone else could be competing in that kind of role soon. There's also, bearing in mind that when Musa comes back, Musa comes in as a left footer. Realistically, Musa probably starts because he's a left footer. Everybody else is a right footer, and you want to kind of balance all of that. Look, it's hard to tell. The thing is that if Luis keeps playing in the way that he is currently playing, I think you've really got to consider that as he's probably got to stay in or at least contending for the lineup. Yeah,
and that's one of the things I was going to mention as well. I really like, Lambert in the back. Just looking at the stats here, Rising gave up 7 goals in total in their first 3 regular season matchups. Since then, only 1 and 2 clean sheets. Now, is that Lambert overall? I don't think it's 100% him. But I just think it allows more flexibility. Maybe there's some more chemistry between him and Darnell King. So I don't know. I like it. And to your point, Seijas, Rodriguez, Quinn in that midfield is working out pretty good. So I don't know if you're gonna. I know eventually Musa will come back and maybe this other guy. So I don't know, man. I really like it, especially the way they're playing right now.
There's a lot going on. That's the problem. There's so many moving parts here that it's hard to really tell. And ultimately, look, Kev, the problem with you saying, let's go with Kev, let's go with Musa, you're playing effectively 2 defensive midfielders as your centre backs. Let's be clear here. Both of those guys are first and foremost defensive midfielders. Now, Musa was retrained as a centre back, or he's been playing there at least last year. And look, Lambert's got some experience of playing back there as well. Yes, but he's not the only, he's still a defensive midfielder predominantly. He's played at a centre back at international level, yes, more frequently than anywhere else that I can tell. But it's an interesting one. The one thing I will say at least is that Kev is mobile. Again, I think we've said that a few times, but yeah, Kev Lambert is a more mobile option at centre back.
Yeah, no, and I think having Quinn, especially maybe if he's going to be kind of like that deep lying midfielder, or if the center back split and he can kind of ping some balls either to Flood or King on either side, I think that just gives Phoenix another angle to kind of play. And so Seijas, of course, with those mid-range shots that he's been able to get those goals with, I think that just opens up too much space. It gives the attack another dimension and allows Quinn to maybe dictate the pace of the game from the back and still kind of contribute on his end. So that's why I like it. I don't know if it's going to continue like you're saying, but
let's just say on Seijas, right? Let's just say on him. He not only has a very large number of passes per 90. Okay, he's third on the team in terms of passes per 90. He's also got, by a long way, the best passing accuracy in the opposition half. Okay? He's over 80%. No one else is over about low 70s. Okay? That's big. Because a lot of the other guys, you look at passing accuracy, a lot of it can get padded out by, the guys passing it around the back. That's why the centre-backs are normally quite high up on that. Because when they play those balls between each other with little to no pressure, it's an easy pass.
Yeah,
there aren't those easy passes in the opposition half, especially not typically where Luis is looking at. And I think he's really been an instrumental part of some of the success as of late.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I do want to touch on Joe Farrell. He could be potentially making his 100th appearance for the club on Saturday if he does play. What can you say about Farrell's tenure with the club?
I think he's been someone who, we know he's a fan favorite. We know that he's always worn his heart on his sleeve in such a way that, of course, he's going to become a fan favorite, right? This is a guy who, when they won the regular season title, took that big plate-looking thing that was a trophy, and ended up going straight up into the south end with it. Okay, that's who he is. He understands his role in that regard. He understands the need to be, close to the fan base and all of that. So look, he's genuinely someone who I think, he's underlooked often, and as often because he's not always the starter, right? We've seen over the years whereby other people, such as you've had the Corey Wheeler and AJ Cochran kind of partnership at the back, and then you've had other things. And Rick said even last year, look, a guy like Joey, you always think like this will be the year that we get past him, and then he comes out and shocks you, and you can't get rid of him. He always comes out and fights and gets his place back, but I think that when you look back at it, even though he's maybe that bit of an unsung hero, he's got to be on that list with some of the other people who've been here for just years and years and years. Solomon Asante did it for a long time. Kev Lambert, been here for a long time. Guys like Carl Wazinski and Zach Lubin, who were here for a long time. And I think that Joe Farrell is not necessarily is he on the same level as, we can't argue he's on the same level as a guy like Solomon Asante, really, talent-wise. But in terms of his service to the club, I don't think you can question it.
No, definitely. And that's what I've heard from a lot of people, that he keeps getting better. He will start, some games on the bench, but towards the end of the season in the playoffs, he's in the starting lineup. Still only 20 years of age, so I still think he has some room for improvement.
How old? Sorry, can you just repeat that?
28, right? That's what he is.
28. I thought I just heard 20. I was going to go, no, he's not that
28.
young. God, no.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, definitely we can see it in the comments here with Michael. A rock at the back. So it's definitely, someone like you're saying. I feel like he fits, in the group of people that you mentioned. So hopefully he can continue being part of the club. And
of course we did hear from him today about what it means to be hitting this milestone. So
the amount of talent that has walked through this locker room over the years, and to still be wearing the badge and playing for this club is a tremendous honor. So I'm thrilled. I'm grateful as can be.
There you go. He said it himself.
Yeah, he did. It's a real and any player that hits 100 appearances for a club, it's especially in a season like this. It's not like if you look at some of the leagues over in Europe, look at like the Championship, for example, in England, it's 46 games in a season. League games. That's before you count cup games. Whereas here it's fluctuated between the 1 year we had 16 because of the pandemic, and then elsewise it's been in that like kind of 30, 32, 34 kind of range. So 100 appearances is big.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty much all I had for that. But yeah, hopefully he can get his 100th appearance. That's a great milestone. That's insane to even think
it
about.
Is, and hopefully he's gonna get his jersey with a big 100 on the back.
Nice little ceremony for sure. And of course, we do have New Mexico coming up this Saturday. Owain asked everybody to give their New Mexico Hate Week takes.
We're gonna need those. Maybe we'll just make sure to send them to @PHNX__rising, as many as you want. If you tag us in them, we're gonna go and find some of these, I think, for Thursday, and we're gonna take a look at these and see what people have to say.
We'll put them up for sure. All right, y'all. Before we
against our better judgment,
do your worst or your best. There you go. However you want to say it.
There we are.
All right, y'all. Before we keep going with the show, I do want to talk to you about OG's Brands. OG's is one of Arizona's first scratch-made cannabis kitchen. And is dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. We've heard from our girl Mark and our boy Saul that they enjoy the orange creamsicle indica gummy, and after a long day of shows here, it hits damn good. We're both Arizona brands, so let's show them some love. If you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OGs near you. And I'm wearing my can you see it here? There you go. My OG's.
It's got the branded stuff there.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna have to go visit this website right now. And again, that's ogsbrands.com. So that way you can try it yourself and let Michaela and Saul know what you think of the flavor. So definitely got to try my own as well.
And remember, again, that game against New Mexico, the second one at least, is on 420. So,
ooh, perfect timing. So yeah, so definitely get your OGs before that. All right, y'all. So let's talk a little bit about some stuff that we've been seeing on Twitter, especially regarding some issues with the stands, the concessions, the food, and the alcohol. And I'll tell you, I heard about this when I bought some tickets for my mom and my brother, and they went to see. I think it was against San Diego. And my parents have been to a few games, and this is the first time they complained about anything at all regarding parking or concessions and stuff like that. And I found it kind of weird because my mom was actually there to enjoy the game. She was looking forward to it. She drove all the way from Casa Grande, and she said, you know what? I went to get just some fries and a bottle of water, and it took me like 45 minutes to get back to my seat, and she had missed a lot of the game. And I think a lot of people have been feeling the same way. And we actually got a comment from the GM on Twitter. So I'll read that off to you when we can put it on screen. But if you guys in the comments have experienced anything like that, let us know anything like that, because we've been seeing some issues from in the stands and as far as food is concerned. Not sure if we have that graphic up. Let me see if I can pull it up. There you go.
There we go.
Bobby Duel, he says, we hear you. No one should have to miss the action to grab food and drink during our matches. The wait times were unacceptable. We're working to come up with the solution. More hawkers, locations, plus vendors with quicker offerings. Thanks for your continued support. And that comes from Bobby Duel. So Owain.
So that was Bobby Dooley hasn't tweeted since 2020, and that was his first tweet since then. And it was because
That's how you bring him out. That's how you bring him out of retirement.
I mean, look, it's always an interesting one, because on the one hand, right, there are kind of people who just complain online. I think if anyone has been on Rising Talk Facebook group, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But look, some things haven't really been up to scratch. There've been changes. There've been things that the club themselves, I know, weren't best happy about in the way that things have gone. I think it's a complicated one, right? Because a lot of this still kind of comes back to the move to Wild Horse Pass was always a bit of a controversial one to some people, right? A lot of people liked the location they had right by the 202 and the 101 in Tempe. And then you make that move down to Wild Horse Pass, and for some people, they think, oh, that's further, especially if you're up in the North Valley. It's again, a lot of people will complain about it. I think the actual stadium itself, while it's comparable to what it was, because it's still kind of temporary, is much nicer than it was. You've got actual plumbing. There is plumbing, Ramon. There is no more going to pee in the dark, okay?
No,
I remember actually got it. It's a lot nicer in that regard. Even the parking situation, and people complain about getting out and all of that. Look, the traffic situation at Casino Arizona Field was atrocious. So I don't think you can really complain about how that's going out.
So it'd be like an hour and a half to try to get out or try to get in.
But, and this is the caveat to it, if the stadium itself might be lovely, some of the other amenities might be great, but the problem is, I think that there have been times where the club hasn't necessarily made the best business decisions since moving. There are a lot of times where, and I think this is genuinely the case, what we see is this kind of like Field of Dreams-esque, we'll just plonk it there and people will come, yeah? You build it, they'll come. No, but you're not like... The problem is, Rising is no longer the only winning team in the Valley, okay? There was a time when that was a thing, right? And it's just not true anymore. Okay? And that's not because Rising aren't winning. It's because now you've got other people who are also winning.
Nope. No, and I think they're used to a certain level of comfort, I guess, when they go to a game. And so when they're trying to buy beers, like, I was a little curious because we were in the press box on Saturday, and I don't know if you noticed the hawker guys, because I've never seen a guy yelling, "Hey, lemonade," or all this stuff. And I was like, are they doing that now? Because I haven't seen it in a Rising game before, but I've been there as a fan as well. And I usually try to leave maybe like right before halftime just to be the first one in line to get my beer or whatever I need. That way I'm back for the start of the second half. But I understand when you have like 6, 7 kids, or probably not that many, but at least 2 or 3, and you're having to wait.
That's a lot of kids. That's
I mean,
almost enough to be setting up your own team, you know? I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Technically, if you've got 7 kids, technically you've got enough kids for the game to start or continue, you know? You only need 7 on the field, so...
So what I'm trying to say is that if your family, right, let's pretend a family of 5, 2 parents, 3 kids, you got to hit the restroom. You got to, get the food for the kid. The dad wants to get a beer, or the mom as well. It takes a long time, man. It's like 20, 30 minutes of action. So by the time you come back, you probably missed a goal or 2. I think that's what about.
The other thing you've got to remember is that regardless of look, there are a lot of diehards who it doesn't quite frankly matter what. They'll have their complaints, but it still doesn't really matter, right? But there are also a lot of people, and the club ultimately continues to function on the fact there are people who come to these games who aren't diehards. There are these people who come to games who maybe enjoy sporting events, or they enjoy the thing of going out, but they're not necessarily big Rising specific fans. And when those people show up, imagine now, you've always got to think about if you were showing up for your first ever Rising game and you weren't sold on the club yet, what would your experience be? And you show up to the stadium for a starter, it's going to feel a bit like crappy, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's mostly scaffolding with a load of dirt outside. It's not the most luxurious of stadiums, is it? And so you've got to then control, and that's something you can't control, right? That's something you can't control. That's just the situation.
Like the Suns or Cardinals or something like that. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different. Yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, but then you've got to control the things that you can control, and that is things like the concessions, things like they've got the plumbing now, which is a good start. It's things like that you can control, and if you're not prepared to do it, I mean, it also goes down to other things like. Let's look at that Open Cup attendance, right? That Open Cup attendance was atrocious.
Yeah.
And we knew it was going to be atrocious. It was a Wednesday night, and Wednesday nights always draw badly anyway.
I also heard, though, that a lot of season ticket holders didn't get the notification, though, or their tickets were not available until maybe a few hours before the game.
Well, the thing that happened with that is it just wasn't really marketed long in advance, was it? Yeah. Look, I mean, this is a fun conversation now as we've got people in the chat. Can we just look at the chat a minute? We got people saying they're going to start making knockoff PHNX __Rising shirts.
At least you got the underscore right. Thank you, Rising Nation.
Yeah, you got the underscores right, but I'm afraid that we can't stand for copyright infringement here, please.
Yeah, more beer, less plumbing. Pee your pants. You don't need bathrooms. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Okay, there we go. Perfect challenge for you on the weekend, Ramon. Every time you want to use the restroom in the press box, we're just going to tell you no.
Whoever was there after the game for 30 minutes, I have some issues with you because I had to do a show holding it, and I was not happy. And Dan Static says, I bring 7 kids to the beer line to hold my seltzers. Their tiny hands don't warm them up too much. Yeah. Definitely, for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think Rising has always been the club to listen to their fans. So they're going to do their best to address these issues. And I think providing a first, like you're saying, if it's your first time and you have a really great time and you're able to drink, you're having a good time with your friends, and Rising's able to pull up a W, you're going to want to come back. It's a good time for people, especially.
You know what? This sounds like a great opportunity to actually, are we able to forcibly rope our producer in, the Peacemaker here?
Let's see, Peacemaker.
We know that he's been to games as a fan.
Yes, I have.
And what is it that actually made that experience for you then?
Honestly, it was like the supporter section. My first ever game was against New Mexico United, and it was like the 90th minute winner from Santi. So like that, the game was just amazing. But I don't know, the cheap beer definitely didn't hurt.
How does that compare to the Diamondbacks? You were at the game this weekend or something, right?
I was the $14 Cowboys of Blue Moon. Not exactly ideal. I did it because I had to, but $14 for a beer is not as much as I would certainly like to pay less than that. So I don't know. The Rising game was just the especially when I was in school, they were a much more affordable sporting event than a lot of them. So I definitely appreciated that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Mr. Peacemaker, for your thoughts. Always appreciate it. Yeah. So I mean, and Sean's a perfect example. If it's cheap and it's fun, he's gonna go. And so that's the kind of like the people that we need to bring to the games and make them lifelong fans, so that way they can continue coming to the game. So yeah, we need a supporter section. Love more Sean, less Edwin. That's me and Michael.
Hashtag Deadwin.
Hashtag Deadwin. Bring him back. All right, y'all. We're gonna kind of head
New
towards
T-shirt, maybe. New T-shirt. Hashtag Deadwin.
Yeah, always remember him for sure. Always in our hearts. I do want to talk to you before we kind of wrap up the show here about DraftKings. So if you guys don't know, the NBA playoffs are happening. They're starting with the play-in games, and that means the NBA playoffs are going to get to the next level. So you got to get ready for all the action by betting the play-in tournament with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets with the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, for each day of the play-in, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. That's an amazing offer right there. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the play-in tournament and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus, Arizona only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Yeah, man.
There's games coming up tomorrow. There's games.
Let's take
which
a
means
look.
There's odds.
Ooh,
so let's have a look. The one I've got for you in here. Is not that you can probably see it very well, but Oakland Roots. I'm completely out of focus now. Oakland Roots against San Diego Loyal. Now, whichever outcome you want, you're getting plus money on it.
That's easy. That's easy money.
San Diego?
No, I mean, yes. I thought you were gonna say Oakland. Yeah. You gotta love
San Diego. You go in San Diego, you can get plus 130 on San Diego Loyal to win away at Oakland tomorrow.
After I saw their game on Saturday, I would easily, put another 3-0 bet down on that one for sure. I think that's
on that one. You think they're gonna win 3-0?
I can see it. Will they?
Want the odds? Let's have a look.
Let's see the
San
odds.
Diego to win 3-0. You can get 25 to 1. 25 to 1 on a 3-0 exact score. San Diego Loyal.
I don't know who said it. Was it Michael? Michael said 3-1 on the Galaxy Rising game, and he got it right. And I had a 3-0, but then I think either Epps or someone missed a shot in front of the goal. But yeah, it was a good time there. But hey, man, if you're trying to make some money, listen to Owain over here.
There's options on this one. If you think you know what you're doing on that game, there's options. There's options. I mean, even if you want to say, even if you want to take San Diego by 3 or more goals, you don't want to go with the exact score. You can get that at plus 850. So
yeah,
good odds. Good odds.
Now that we're talking about the USL, Owain, let's kind of recap last week's results really quickly. See here, waiting for my results to load up. The surprise for me of the week was Tampa Bay. They lost 1-0 to Miami. That one was pretty.
Yeah, I mean, Look, the thing is that Tampa are a good team, but everyone's going to lose at some point in the season. Miami have had a sluggish start to the year, but at the end of the day, they're still a competitor, right? They're still a team that are capable of doing something. I think the thing that was really intriguing for me was the sheer number of goals we had to start the evening off.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Sheer number of goals. Tulsa 3, Pittsburgh 4, Vegas 2, Colorado Springs 3.
I want to point out that Vegas was winning, and then Colorado came back on that one.
How much did you bet on Vegas, Ramon?
I didn't bet too much on Vegas, but I was just going to say that they were going to win. I think they were up 2-0 at one point, so I think Colorado made
They were up 2-1 at one point. You are correct. Yeah.
Detroit,
Yeah, but I said this. I called Detroit to win in Atlanta, didn't I? I mean, it didn't help that Atlanta, admittedly, right? Okay, the 4 goals had been scored before, but Atlanta finished with 9 men. Okay,
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty. I don't know.
I didn't have a shot on target either. Not a single shot on target all game. But you know what the real big one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Indy 11, Indy 11 got their result, but the real big one for me from the weekend, and I'm just checking, it was indeed this weekend, wasn't it? I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, it was. It was a certain team with a train on the badge.
El Paso
Locomotive.
I called that one. I told you. I thought I saw it in their eyes. And
You called 5-0.
I called
5-0 against Monterey Bay.
Monterey.
I know we expected them to beat Monterey Bay, but 5-0. This is a team that played 4 games to start the season, lost all 4, then played a cup game to a League One side and lost that by a hammering. On that,
but I
4-1.
felt like they were playing.
They were losing 4-0. They were losing 4-0 at halftime to a League One team.
Yeah, not good.
And then they come out and just demolish Monterey Bay.
I think the fact that Monterey has not been playing at home or gotten some sort of
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
So I think it's messing them up for sure. I'm surprised with that San Antonio score against Orange County. I mean, they squeaked by the win, but I thought Orange County was going to come out a little bit better, especially at home. So,
I mean, they're the ones who cost me my parlay over the weekend.
Oh, come on, LC.
I had a draw. I had a draw for that game.
Dang, that was really close.
So close.
Monterey Cheese Bay Biscuits FC. San Diego.
I feel like we're missing. Yeah, I feel like we're missing the elephant in the room, though, if we're talking about USL.
Really want to talk about it? No, I'm just kidding.
Are we going to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Big news coming out of yesterday with Solomon Asante, the former Phoenix Rising 2019-2020 MVP, signing with Indy 11. I feel like you already knew about this. Am I right?
Well, we knew he was probably going to another USL team. We knew he'd been in talks with other USL teams. And from what I gather, there'd been a lot of talk about him going to Indy beforehand. This has been in the works for a while. You have to bear in mind that some of these things especially take longer because you're waiting on visas. They take longer before they can be properly announced because you are waiting on visas. And that just, especially when he was back in Ghana, that's hard.
It sounds like
in the current environment. Yeah, but in the current environment, just like waiting on visas is a nightmare, especially when you're stuck sometimes waiting for overseas embassies. He's a good look. He's a player who we know, and we know this definitely because of his final performance against RGV. He's a player who can still turn it on. Now, can he do it consistently, given that he was, he struggled. He struggled a lot of that season with injury problems, his hamstring, all of that. Can he do it consistently? We don't know. We don't know at this point in time. But something that was put to me yesterday, which I found very interesting, but, actually a really good one to talk about briefly here. Did RGV end Solomon Asante's rising career?
I don't think so.
If Rising had won that, is there still a way that he could have stayed here? Because you know what? The more you think about it, the more I'm like, he had a very good game in that one. If he'd have scored another, in the next playoff game or two and picked up another 2 goals, say, in the playoffs, do you offer him a better contract?
So is that what he was looking for? A little bit higher pay? Or
I don't know if it was higher pay compared to what he was on, but I know it was higher pay than the club ultimately was going to pay him.
Yeah.
Or he wanted a better deal than the club was going to give him.
Yeah. No, I mean, but here's the thing. If I'm Solomon Asante, I'm like, look, I'm the 2019-2020 back-to-back MVP. I'm all league, selection 3 years in a row.
Yeah, but this is the kind of nonsense that like Americans obsess over. I don't get what you guys do over this. That's why you go off and pay LeBron a load of money to go miss the playoffs. Like, come on, let's be real here.
LeBron was LeBron. Don't put LeBron into this conversation.
Let's be real. But like, you guys overpay people who are getting old based on past accomplishments. And that's just something that's true over like all American sports. And it's a weird outlook that I don't get, because you want to pay someone based on what they're actually going to do for you. Okay?
No, you're right. And so I think Harry has
Like-
a comment here. He says, I don't think so. Solo could not stay on the pitch. In my opinion, he is a GOAT, but you think he would sit on the bench? I mean, I don't know. Like, how much? So okay.
But
So
is he going to Indy now to start?
that's
Is he
what I
going to
mean.
start week in, week out for Indy? We don't know at this point.
Expecting,
The one thing
yeah.
I will say, can I just shout out John Morrissey with USL Tactics, put out his playoff odds, like his expectation chance of making the playoffs. The biggest loser of the deal that moved Solomon Asante over to Indy, the biggest loser was Detroit City. So yeah, Detroit now are not expected by them. What a shame. Sorry, Detroit. You'll be missed.
So Indy right now, they have 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses, goal difference of -2. So having someone like Asante definitely boosts them up. And if you guys haven't read John Morrissey's article on USL Tactics, he breaks down how he's going to fit with the team. Really great article there. So do you see Indy 11 catapulting towards the top echelon, I guess, of the Eastern?
No, one player's not going to do that.
What do you think? 6, 7?
I think that they are in a better shape to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I don't think that they're now like a solid title contender. That's just not who they are. And I look, I wouldn't bet against Mark Lowry in some regards, because he's a coach with a lot of experience in this league, who's done a lot of things in this league, and you never really want to rule him out. Because I mean, look, everyone now in our comments here now in the chat is just slagging off Indy, okay, and saying they're not very good. But you know, when you look at El Paso, who were the stars on a lot of those teams? There were times where they had stars, but like those teams played far better collectively than they were as a group of individuals. Yeah. He always got the best out of those teams. Now he's taken his time in Indy to get it going, as he took his time in El Paso the first season he was there. And I think that he's got some other issues as well. You know, I'm not sure that the locker room necessarily is quite in the shape that he wants it to be. But it's going to take time. He might well turn that around. Look, we're a long way off, but I still don't think they're a title contender.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think so as well. So, and we'll see. I think they have some injuries as well, especially to one of their forwards who's pretty good. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, they're able to gel. I would like an Indy 11, game of the week on ESPN2 next year at Wild Horse Pass. If Asante is part of that team,
but is Asante still going to be there?
That's what I mean. Like, so
it's USL. People like just up and leave. Like,
I would like it. I would like to see that reception and see how he's treated over here. But yeah,
basically, I'd rather see what Dan's just here talking about, which is let's get Solo and LeBron up top as a striking duo and see how that goes.
You guys are underestimating LeBron. Yeah. Someone said a comment about Space Jam, and I think he won like a Razzie Award or something for how bad it was. So.
Well, the one thing we do know is if you were to put LeBron on the pitch, you'd have to put him up top, because you wouldn't expect him to put any effort in going back, would you?
Wow. It's going to stop you there. All right, yo. Yeah, just to wrap up over here, the soccer talk. Well, the UEFA Champions League. Some good
games. UEFA.
Yeah, help me out, Ramon.
It's almost like Seijas all over again.
My goodness. Chelsea weren't able to get by Real Madrid. Bayern lost against Villarreal. Is Spanish football back?
I don't know if I'd say if it's back or not. I wish I watched more of it to be able to give you that answer. Unfortunately, I spend my weekends watching fun games like Loudoun and Memphis.
Disappointed me now. I thought they were going to be pretty good, but
Hartford.
Yeah,
that's Monterey Bay. It's the Spanish leagues in some ways, even if they haven't been the top contenders for the Champions League, you've always seen them do well in the other competitions. The Europa League's a perfect example. We saw Villarreal get their results. Was it last year? The year before?
I think the one
against Man United.
Yeah, it's either them.
It was recently. It was recently in the final. So these clubs do. There's still quality there, and it's it's a weird one because realistically they shouldn't have knocked off Bayern Munich. Let's be perfectly frank.
No, for sure.
But hey, and I mean, look, I mean, as Michael's saying now, but Barca is
yeah,
in a bit of a state at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. So Chelsea, I think they should have beat Real Madrid today, but you know, Real Madrid just have this mystique.
Real Madrid or Real Madrid though, like it's.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So always fun within the Champions League. Always fun to take a look at that. And as far as some international games here in the States, Mexico just released their schedule for the summer games here in the U.S. and they're going to be playing in Glendale, June 2nd against Uruguay. So if you're looking to see some Luis Suarez, some Edinson Cavani, you guys can go over there.
Sink your teeth into that matchup.
Yeah, there you go. I knew you were going to make that joke. We're looking. I think the tickets go on sale tomorrow. So if you're looking to get some tickets, but some, I think Mexico's are going to bring their A team, so it's going to be a fun time. So
well, it is an international window. It's an international window, so it's not one of those ones that gets played in like a random US city in the middle of whenever, and you effectively just see a bunch of guys from Mexican clubs.
Yeah,
the other teams do have to release their players. So
yeah, they're playing Guatemala on April 27 in Orlando of all places. So yeah, totally get it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for us today. Owen, any last thoughts?
Ooh, I think we just actually can we just get there's one video clip I think, and we just need to remind people again about a certain week that it is this week. So we maybe need to get a certain midfielder in Arturo Rodriguez's thoughts.
I mean, this is my second year now. I feel more it's like a big game, you know. Like they have really good fans. We have, I think, better fans, and I think that make the games more competitive outside and inside the field, you know.
Remember, better fans here. Those better fans need to come up with good things to tag us in about the upcoming match on Saturday and the following Wednesday. So.
You think we'll see a tifo Saturday, Wednesday?
Probably not. It's a busy time. We don't know. We never know.
Yeah. All right. I would like
look.
To see
just remember, just get all of the stuff that we can get on the opposition here. Okay, and we will dedicate some time to this on Thursday.
Again,
New Mexico United Hate Week will get its moment in the sun.
Hit us up on Twitter, PHNX_rising.
Double the underscores.
Double the fun. There you go. All right, y'all. That's it for us today. We will be back on Thursday with the preview of the game against New Mexico United. It should be a fun one. Again, hit us up with your hot takes on Twitter, and we will have them on the show. Until then, thank you, Owen. Thank you, Mr. Peacemaker Sean DePaz. We will see you on Thursday. Take care.